In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a custom font to your website. With AllProWebTools, every user gets free website hosting. I can edit my website by going to Website and My Web Pages, and then scrolling down and selecting the page I would like to edit. In the editor, you can choose from a collection of font families to customize your website, but you are not fully limited to this list. If you would like to add your own custom fonts, there are two ways that this can be done. You can either use Google Fonts and the font library they provide, or you can upload your own font if you have the file. First, let's go over how to use Google Fonts. I'm going to open up a new tab and search for Google Fonts. It shows up as the very first result. Here, I have a large selection of fonts that I can just continuously scroll through. If I find a font I want to use, I can go ahead and click Add to Collection. Now I can go down to my collection, and since I have the font I want to use, I'm going to click on Use. Next, I can choose the specific styles I want to use with this font. When I'm finished, I will need to scroll down. There are two pieces of information I need to copy over into my AllProWebTools console. First is this code that will reference the font. Second is the CSS that will tell my website to use this font. Let's start by copying the code. And we'll head back to our AllProWebTools console, and then go to Settings and Administrator. Now I need to add this code that I copied into the header. So under the Theme Editor, I'm going to select Header. What you need to look for is this head end tag. In that code that I copied from Google Fonts, I can go ahead and paste in the editor right above that end head tag. Now I can go ahead and hit Save. And the next piece is to update my style sheet. So under this drop-down that says File Loaded, I can click on it and select Style Sheet. Here I'm going to add the CSS Google Fonts gave me. So let's go back to Google Fonts. And we'll go ahead and copy the CSS that they gave me. Now I can go back to my AllProWebTools console. And for this video, the fastest way to apply this font to my website is to make this body selector and then paste the CSS directly into it. When I'm finished, I can go ahead and click the Save icon, and then I'm going to click on the Preview button and look at my website. And you'll notice that my website now uses the new font that I loaded. If you would like, you can go through the same process and add multiple fonts to your website. I'm going to go back to Google Fonts, and I'm going to add some more fonts. I can continue scrolling through all of their fonts and simply adding each font that I like to my collection. Then when I have all the fonts I need, I can go ahead and click Use. Just like before, I would have to select the styles I would like to use, and I can come down and copy this code into my header file, pasting it right above the head end tag in my header file, and clicking Save. But now because I'm using multiple fonts, my CSS becomes a little more difficult. I have three different options for fonts I can use in my CSS. But what I can do is add these different font families to different selectors. So for example, all of my header 1 tags will use a certain font family, and all of my paragraph tags will use a different font. However you want to use your fonts is up to you. You just need to go back into your AllProWebTools console and go to your style sheet and add your CSS for the proper selector, and then click Save. If you have your own custom font file, you can use that for your website as well. First, you need to go to the File Manager by going to Website and Manage Images and Files. The first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder and name it Fonts. This is just to keep myself organized. Then I'm going to open up the Fonts folder, and this is where I'm going to upload my font file. I already have the file I want, so I'm just going to drag and drop it into my AllProWebTools console. And now I can see that my font has been uploaded. The next piece is to tell my style sheet to use this font. Before I go to my style sheet, first I'm going to right-click on this file and show URL. Now I can click the button to copy this URL, and I'm going to be using that when I set up my style sheet. So now that I have the URL for my font, I can go to Settings and Administrator, and under the panel titled Theme Editor, I can click on Style Sheet. In order to use this font, I can use the @FontFace rule to specify the file I'm going to use. I need to type in the name of the font family that I'm going to reference somewhere else in the style sheet. And then for the source, I need to put the URL. I can simply just paste the URL that I copied earlier from the font file. Now that my style sheet is set up to use the font I'd like, the quickest way to apply it to my entire website is to use this body selector and set the font family to the same family I used when I set up the font face rule. When I'm finished, I can go ahead and click Save and save the style sheet. Now if I click the Preview button on the top menu bar, you can see that my website is now using the custom font that I uploaded.